challenge a human being. So all the fitna that's in the world, it comes from the lack of the human being's ability to tussle with the shaitan. Tazkiyah bil nafs, purification of nafs. And this is the thing that the angels was Musa, he could shed blood and create mischief in the land. And Allah said, I know what you know, but I know what you know not. Okay. And then he said, well, tell me the nature of the names, the names being the nature of things. So the angel said, we don't know what he said. So with Adam started naming everything. There's a bear, it's an elephant, and along with that name goes their characteristic. You see what I mean? And then for everything else, Allah gave him hidayah. Remember in the same ayah that he gave them guidance and direction to solve the whole problem. All right. And those things that are seen and unseen. The world we live in right now is unbelievably mean. It's not only what happens in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Palestine, the murders and things of Palestine. Yeah, y'all prayed, right?
I prayed before I got here.
Okay, yeah, that's what okay. Yeah, so go ahead with him. Okay. Right. So now, representative of the oppressed. Now, what does that mean? I don't know if y'all remember, but I have said in many lectures that at this period I was going to take credit for the thing that I don't know if anybody can remember exactly, but I said I would take credit for these things that are happening, these things that are going on. Okay. If we take credit for things that we can see, psychological guerrilla warfare and all that, then the stage we're at means that we're taking credit for that. Not me and you, but the representative of the oppressed. I'll put it that way. And normally, we would have to study away psychological guerrilla warfare, rebellion, revolution. All those are things to fight against oppression. It appears that we're way, way past that. And this time, we're going to have to participate in the modern science fiction type world, but also in a world that is wide open to opportunities. We live in a world that we're doing exactly what we want to do. The life we're living is exactly the life that we want. You know, there's some license place that says, happiness is going fishing, or something like that. I don't know if you ever see. Well, happiness for us is fighting the system over and over again, over the decades. And, well, happy, why would you be so happy? You know, everywhere we look now, we can see, oh man, the oppression, the global oppression is so mean and sad that it is really unbelievable. If you take what the United States is doing all around the world, it's like the great Satan would do. Saudi Arabia is backing the invasion of Yemen. Yemen has already had cholera, all the hospitals are bombed, all the schools are bombed, all the facilities in Yemen are bombed. And it's not only cholera, but it's all this coronavirus and everything all mixed together. And you can see that Saudi Arabia can go into embassies or have people come into their embassy. They can cut them up and put them in a box and go home. And it's okay. Nobody says anything about it. Can you imagine? Or the Israelis can slaughter Palestinians and deny them any building material. Because they say, well, if you can get in cement to build your houses, you can build bunkers for. That means you can't do nothing. And so they steal all their land. And they say they're the only democracy in that part of the world. And the Hindustani government is upsetting the Muslim minority, which is 200 million people. And it's okay, because India is a democracy. I was rereading about Waco. Waco happened down in Texas 25, 26 years. Goodness, it's a long time. Maybe 28 years ago now. 93, something like that. Good God Almighty. That was a while back. And when you read about it, even they had a program on, was it Netflix the other day? I just happened to be, I had seen it pop up on the thing, and I said, Waco, I knew about that. This is going to be a brainwash, you know, about Waco, and the FBI is going to be good guys and all that. So the other night, when I went home from the class, I just pushed it away. I watched a minute of it. As soon as it came on, I sat up straight. It was telling the story about like it was. About the FBI, first the ATF came in, and they didn't have no reason to mess with the people. They showed the ATF agent that went in and tried to trick them, and he started liking them. And when they was coming to raid the place, he was trying to wave them off. They drove right past him, and then they raided the place, and they got wore out the first time. And then they went through this whole, remember that radio stuff that was on TV, that was on about Waco and David Koresh years ago. And then it was a series, it was an hour long, but it had about 6 series. I just stayed there the rest of the night and I watched all them boys. But I couldn't leave, you know why? They were showing the truth about what happened. They showed what the FBI was in at that time. They showed Ruby Riggs because they had shot, hey man, they shot the white man's dog. This is the first thing that we got to remember. And then they shot the baby out of a white woman's arm. Man, the FBI at that time had a bad reputation. And each one of those, the people wasn't doing nothing. And that's what they showed about Waco. The people, the sheriff was on their side, everybody, you know, the country sheriff, David Koresh would call him on the phone and all kind of stuff. They was all into that community. They was living the good life. And they showed the attitude of the FBI, basically their dialogue, and they showed at the end how they just moved. They showed the tanks moving up to the place, pumping that CS gas in there, and we could see it on TV because we could see the fumes. And then Janet Reno said there was no pyrotechnic device like a firecracker or something to light up that gas, but that's what they did. The tanks went in first and they filled it up full of gas. And they burned up, you know, all those children. And hey man, the next year, that's when the Murrow Federal Building got blew up. And I called the FBI, I said, hey, I said, the guy you arrested from Jordan, I didn't tell him all of that, but they hung up on me because they didn't want to hear what, they must have had my number, and they told me, we don't want to hear it. I said, well, white folks did that. That meant white folks either is with you or against you. But it's white folks. Why? Because a Murrow Federal Building killed all them children, all them FBI children. They killed them, blew them up. Why? Because in Waco, all them people, they blew up, they burned them children up. Can you imagine? They just burned them alive. Then, what I liked about it at the end, they said, whether it's true or not, here's what we do know. And they showed Arkansas in 1973. They burned up all the people. They showed 74 out there in California. I'm always talking about Symbionese liberation. They burned them alive, burned them up. There was a sheriff that shot 2 police and he run off up in the hills near Big Bear in California. Let's say around 10 years ago. And the LA, especially LA people, they burned him alive. He was in a cabin and he wouldn't come out, they burned him out. They showed 3 or 4 situations where that's their style. So man, that's a good program. And then it makes you see how mean these people are. They're unbelievably mean. But I wrote it right here and I mean it. The more I see how mean they are, the more this stuff, love is the only answer. I'm not a hippie, I'm not none of them flower children, although I knew a lot of them. Yeah, I got pictures of all the stuff. That's why they don't have no Negroes. When I used to hang around with them, I'd hang around with the Negroes at nighttime and part of the day, and I'd go over to Haight-Ashbury. The reason I know so much about it is San Francisco. I drive across the bridge, and I wanted to know, what are these white folks about? You know, they had their utopia for a year or 2, a few months. Haight-Ashbury, you know, a whole free love, free, we just don't want to be bothered with you guys, forget it. Them white folks moved in on them. Y'all heard of crystal meth, right? Crystal meth, LSD, for the Negro that he had heroin and other stuff. Hey man, they just, oh, we're gonna give y'all LSD. that funny stuff, and we're gonna run all you niggas. We ain't playing with nobody. This is the policy.
Yeah, they admitted that was like a testing ground.
Unbelievable, man.
They say.
Now, you have options with those people. We've studied the options, and we do study. I don't care whether you believe it or not, or whether it sounds like it or not, but we study what are the options with these. Well, we could have a revolution, and we could kill them all. Well, that's not happened before. And one thing about revolutions, you don't get into the Robespierre syndrome, White Army and Red Army, right? Formosa, I don't know if Formosa is Taiwan, or mainland Chinese, right? The good guys are going to kill all the bad guys, or make it so bad on them that they go, you know what I mean? They're coming in for the kill. And it's not that they don't deserve it, but within 3-4 weeks, or a year, or a while, guess who the good guys are going to be? They're going to be the bad guys. That's the sad ending of revolution. And the guillotine, Robespierre, and y'all may not have heard, the French Revolution, to the guillotine, off you go. Guillotine, like Gillette razors, you know, guillotine. Gillette French razor, that's what it is, and cut your head off. Well, after the revolution in France, they were just running everybody to the guillotine. And the poor white lady said, let them eat cake, Marie Antoinette, and they just cut her head off. They didn't think it was funny, you know what I mean? No, hey man. And see, you have to look at how people are treated. When people are treated that bad, the last thing on their mind is going to be love and kindness. That's the last thing going to be on their mind. Why did we say, you know, like happiness is going fishing? Happiness is fighting this fight for decades. Decades and decades without ever succumbing to any fear of the system. See, in the early years, you get mad at the system. They're going to take my empire, you know, you little petty, you know, little ruler, you feel like one in your little neighborhood there. And the white man going to take my empire. That's how you think about it. Oh, this is my show. And you be mad at the white man. You don't be scared of him. Scared of him is you nervous and all that stuff. Mad is when you be mad, like, and then you start adding stuff up. And it's like some of the people added up like one gang and another gang. They said, well, that gang got the law on their side. They can do it. And they got more arms and weapons than you do. And if you go get somebody to help you, they're going to subvert them. And they're going to go on their side. Because they're going to follow them around. You know what I mean? And find some case on them. You know, a lot of truth is coming out in some of these. Did anybody see, was that not mercy and love, but you know the guy that played Killmonger? He just made a movie when he's a lawyer down in Alabama, when he goes down to Alabama. I watched that last night. I just felt like watching something. And, you know, when you see how, of course you know it, but when you see how other people are treated, you say, man, I'm the luckiest nigga in the United States. I already know that, because I tell boss man to kiss my behind, I make fun, I do all of that. And I ain't dead, I ain't, you know what I mean? And the little old petty stuff, a little old, sending a message about I owe $2. It's so ridiculous that actually I feel happy. Man, just walking out in the woods, yesterday was one of those days, today too, but yesterday was one of those real cleary days, you know, the wind had cleaned it all up, and you just walking in the woods, it is nice. It's nice, and you said, it's nice to be alive. I mean, it doesn't cut martyrdom out of the picture like, I ain't gonna take no chances, since it's so nice, I want to kind of move in and stay here a while. No, not that, not that. It's just you're thankful. You know, it's sad. Boss man just got a $2.5 trillion thing right for everybody. And then when the people that needed money, they fill out all the paperwork. They said, well, there's no more money in there. Why? Well, they gave the ability of the banks
To take money that owed
to distribute the money. One guy said on TV, he said, I don't have no more. He said, this is a guy that has a thing, I guess he's in LA or Korea. He's making free meals for all the people that's doing work, you know, in hospitals and all of that. And he's doing that now. He said, yeah, I signed up for it. He said, well, did you get it? He said, when I got to the door, they said, it ain't no more money. That's why they got this thing. They got $500 billion. But you know what that is? Nothing. They didn't pump $6 trillion in this economy. And the only thing it's did is slow down the fall of the stock market. But don't worry. This is going to get into, I'm going to try to put it together about creating men and gin to serve me. First of all, let's look at the world.